Mr. Vaidyanathan, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Could you just first start by the RBI Governor's speech, various small announcement, big announcement made in that speech? Which ones you say would be important? What were key takeaways for you?
Two takeaways. One is that the RBI is very alert and listening to what's really going on and willing to and demonstrating intent to deal with the issue decisively. I think that's a very important point for me. Number two, I think the fact that the TLTRO2 is targeted for NBFCs. And what I like even more than that was the fact that 50% has to go to small and mid-sized NBFCs. I think this is a very material point because obviously large NBFCs are getting the funding, the small ones are not. So this will address that issue.
Right. You know, when we talk about the targeted LTRO or TLTRO 2.0, which they have given specially for NBFCs, can you just talk more about that? Was that the need of the hour, refinancing via government entities like NABARD, SIDBI? All of that was needed, you know, so that banking operations, NBFC operations function smoothly?
See, it is a fact that NBFC funding lines were very badly choked because of two reasons. One is the fact that, in general, I think ever since the ILFS episode, there has been general concern about NBFC. Number two, after the COVID crisis, people or lenders became even more cautious. And finally, I think the latest norm about whether the NBFCs were entitled for the moratorium put them in a rather sort of a fixed. Frankly, I don't think that question was a correct question because I don't think the earlier RBI norm specifically said that it should not give the moratorium to NBFCs. There was no such norm, but still there was some doubt on that. So, thing is that these put some stress on NBFCs. And I think, like I said before, these moves are very significant because it eases up the situation for NBFCs, particularly the small ones. I think the other big move, apart from the 50,000 crore TLTRO2, was the lending to NABARD, SIDBI and NHB of 50,000 crores. Again, going back to RRBs, going to MFI, going to NBFC, going to HFC, and that too provided as a policy repo rate. So I think that it's significant.
Right. Mr. Vaidyanathan, you have run a NBFC as well, and now, of course, you're running a whole host bank as well. Can you just tell us that, do you think NBFCs are much worse placed in this environment versus bank? What will be your assessment on that front?
Not about how they're placed vis-a-vis banks. Obviously, banks have access to public deposits, which is so granular and sticky. So no doubt about that. But I do think that, as I said before, there was stress, and I don't think anybody can deny that. And the stress was more, for the not so AAA rated NBFCs, because. But that issue, I think at least today, I felt was a very big relief. I was actually thankful when it came across. I was feeling very relieved because I think that NBFCs and especially the smaller NBFCs are important for the ecosystem, each many corners of the country. And I do think that that this relief was absolutely essential and very timely from RBI.
Right. When we talk about the real estate and the developer sector, there also seems to be an announcement regarding the NPA on that front. What do you make of that? This is something which has been done by different countries. It has also been done earlier. Back in 2009, it was also something which industry was demanding. What do you make of that announcement?
I didn't hear very much on that one, but I did hear the fact that the commencement date of operation has been given some relief. I think, of course, real estate is a very important sector. We all know that because it has many connected industries going with that. So in this context, I think that, again, it is a very important pressure button to press today. Otherwise, calling a real estate project an NPA and putting it out to dry in the sun would be very hard, and it would be hard to revive them. So I think while they are still alive, to infuse some oxygen in them and keeping them not calling them NPA and giving them a chance to succeed is really good. We don't lend very much to real estate. In fact, we have almost as good as no exposure. So it's not material from our point of view. but as a system, I must say it's good.
What do you think about the rates in the system? Already rates in the system have come down with the sort of crash that you're seeing in demand all across the board, whether it is bond market, whether it is any other market. What would you think about rates when you compare it to some of the other, now even emerging market countries? India 10-year yields seem to be particularly high. What would be your view on rates going ahead?
I think there is some concern probably that maybe the government borrowing program may because of the fact that tax collections could be low, and they're having to support the economy in these very hard times, which of course has to be done. So I think these probably are concerns that are keeping bond yields elevated yet. But I do think that things will stabilize from here.
Thanks so much, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Always good to get perspective from you. That was B. Vaidyanathan of IDFC First Bank.